It is indeed a pleasure to have this privilege to play here for you. We intend to give you a very fine program, so just settle back, relax, and enjoy the moment.
One, two, check. Can y'all hear me now? Oh, Jesus. Thank y'all. And the chat goes a little slow sometimes, so I didn't catch up till it was like, yo, we can't hear you. The chat is not as instant. That might have been, You know what? Okay, so what I was saying. Yeah, you heard the desktop audio. That's cool. What I was saying while y'all were watching me just move my lips was, if we do experience a technical difficulty, I want you to join me in taking a cleansing breath. And I'm gonna pause a little bit if there is like a serious interruption, like, so if there is, if I lose my feed again, I'm just going to take a little step back and see if it comes back. And I'm not going to exit, but I'm going to encourage you all to exit the app. I'm here, y'all. This is okay. And also too, realizing that, I just can't wait. I can't wait for the upgrade, the studio upgrade that I need. I just can't wait. And so I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for rocking with me. I look adorable. Yeah. I'm on my own figuring out this text stuff. Kia, thank you. Thank you, Jessica. Thank y'all, everybody. Turn them shits up. Good morning. Oh, thanks you. That one was on, I don't know why. I have not unplugged my mic. So, but for some reason it was off. But now I have another thing to check in the morning. All right, let's get to it, y'all. Good morning. Thank you for coming. I teased out the video today. I'm conflicted. I'm a hypocrite and I'm conflicted. I don't like giving people with like virulent views or people who are like Trump supporters who in essence to me are very comfortable with white supremacy and white supremacist political expression. Good morning. I used to always say, stop giving these racist, nice, cute nicknames. And I think for the violent, basically I'm letting y'all know I'm being a hypocrite. So when I teased out the video like this morning, I called Nancy Mace Newsmax Nancy Mace or Nancy Newsmax Mace. And it's just a thing that to me, it is a way to be tongue in cheek about some things, but I definitely want to acknowledge my hypocrisy with that. But, also too, I think there's levels to this shit. I think there's levels to certain egregious acts. And so I'll leave it at that. But I teased out this morning that this is about, hey, Brandy. Good morning, Brandy. I teased this morning, we're going to talk about Nancy Mace and talk about what she's been up to. Did you see? I'm a Putin supporter. Who's that? I'm a Putin supporter. Good for you, Dimitri. It might be some chess. Dimitri, there might be some chess Twitch channels you can watch. If you're a Putin supporter, I'm sure you like chess. So many chess games going on right now in Europe. All right, so let's just jump into it. I got distracted by Dimitri over there. I ain't gonna keep blocking everybody. No, we don't want this view. We want this one. Can y'all hear me okay? Because sometimes when I switch screens, it does that too. Can you give me a thumbs up? Yeah, because sometimes when I switch to certain things, it might sound staticky. All right. So thank you. All right. So today's weather. Shout out to Jared. We're gonna zoom through this real quick. Hit refresh. Still 70. Okay. Yesterday was beautiful. I don't know. Like I went out yesterday to the Battery. Thank you so much, D Bartlett. And Jessica, I went out to the Battery yesterday on my lunch break, and just y'all know how they're doing all that construction over there in the Battery, the whole renovation project, and all of that. But I came down the Battery. What street was I on? I can't remember. But were you at the very beginning of it, right? And they've completed a lot of the construction there, and they have benches set up. It's just breathtaking. I never take it for granted. So even though like yesterday was like a thunderstorm came out of nowhere in certain places, I was kind of spared, but it was a beautiful day yesterday. So get out and take a walk if you can. Scattered thunderstorms, 86 degrees. It was hot yesterday too. It was hot. So shout out Charleston weather. Let's hop over to Post and Courier. All right. Hey, Kat, over on Facebook. Good morning. Over Post and Courier. Oh, I was reading something else. This is something separate. This is another article, y'all, about the and we'll hop back over here. Now, this is written by the Associated Press, right? Alan Fram and Lisa Mascaro. But it was in the Post and Courier, so I want to get into that because it's what we're talking about today. All right. So this is the digital edition of the Post and Courier. So Sullivan's Island had an election last night. So this leads off like 62% of the vote, right? You have some GOP highlights here about the hate crime legislation. Senate advances bill letting curbside alcohol sales continue, but no delivery. And then you have federal pandemic assistance set to run out for 32,000 South Carolinians by the end of May 5th. That's interesting. Instead of kind of going back to the front page, let me go ahead and let's get into those highlights regarding the election real quick. Okay, let's just go WCBD, talk about the Sullivan's Island election. All right.
News 2 is your local election headquarters, and tonight we know Sullivan's Island Mayor will keep his seat for the next few years. Incumbent Pat O'Neill beat challenger Chauncey Clark in the mayoral race. We spoke with Dr. O'Neill after the elections about some of the island's major issues, including paid parking and the future of the maritime.
Hi, Diane,
forest.
on Facebook. Hi, Diane.
The future of the forest is very complicated, as you know, and of course it's in the hands of the regulatory agencies currently. However, if they come back with changes that they want, they'll be dealing with a new council. So to whatever extent we have influence on that, that may be where it comes in. And also with continuing to manage what's left of the forest out there and going forward after the initial work is done to whatever extent that is now. As far as paid parking, I'm pretty sure this takes it off the table.
3 city council seats were also open. Scott Millimet, Justin Novak, and Gary Visser took those seats. Officials say there were a record number of voters turning out today. We have full results on our website, counton2.com.
Okay. Were y'all clued into that race? Were y'all clued into that race? I really wasn't. Right? For some obvious reasons. But there you go. There you go. All right. So I love how, look, real quick, I see this story over here to the right, Rudy Giuliani's downfall. Like, he was never up. Like, I don't know, maybe going to college in the New York metro area, seeing, open windows policing, and then seeing that morph into Bloomberg's stop and frisk. I don't know. Giuliani always was like horrible. And so it's interesting. I know he was America's mayor and all that, and tried to extend his term when he was in office, and he was unsuccessful in that. But you see the Windows ads are no longer here. So this is the front page of the Post and Courier today. All right, Sullivan's Island voters speak loudly. O'Neill reelected. So that's cool. There's a really interesting this story right here. I'm going to try to get into this as well. The South Carolina hate crime bill narrowly advances. We'll get into that. Here comes the rain again. This is a climate change piece. Let's see who wrote this. Did Chloe write this? Here comes the rain again. Where's the story? Okay, they just a picture of rain. That's interesting. Okay, that's interesting. Where's the story? There's no story. It's just here comes the rain again. Okay. They didn't have no ducks, I guess, no mallards to put up there. Kate, audio, you said he was horrible, but he was crazy like he is now. But was he crazy? No, I do think that he's desperate to stay in the limelight. I do think that's what's going on with Giuliani, Kat, if that's what you're asking. But his policies were disgusting. I mean, he criminalized poverty. You couldn't congregate if you were a black or Hispanic male. You couldn't congregate and have fun. It was a lot of harassment. Again, that just morphed into what Bloomberg then brought, which was the stop and frisk. Just locking up poor people who were out on the, just making New York City look pristine. Much like how when I relocated to Charleston, there was this big concerted effort to get rid of those tent communities. You remember when like 7 years ago, all those tents that would be under underpasses and everywhere downtown. And, I asked my friend one time, like, well, where did those people go? Right? Did they create housing? Did they create, outside of, 180 Place or other places similar to that? It was just criminalizing poverty and just pushing poor people out of, high traffic tourist places. And I think Giuliani did the same thing. Like, it was really a mess. It was very violent. And you have to remember so many things happened. Did the Abner Louima happened, I think, with Giuliani. I'm not 100% sure. I think that was Abner Louima. I mean, or was it? There are a number of police shootings and a lot of really, really unfortunate extrajudicial deaths or police involved violent issues. But under Giuliani's direction. But nah, everyone thought he was affable and competent. At least he's just like a complete like loony. I think he definitely shows signs of being unstable. All right, so just want to transition. So one story I keep saying that we need to talk about this. I'm going to blow this up a little bit because I really do want to read this a little bit of this story from Avery Wilkes regarding this SLED investigate fire state agency chief. Let's see if we can get to this story. We click it. All right, so let's read that. I'm going to blow this up a little bit so y'all can at least get a visual. Ads are killing me. All right, so right here it says South Carolina's top law enforcement agency, SLED, is investigating former state agency chief who was fired by the governor after her agency awarded a $600,000 contract to her husband's company. SLED opened its investigation into former state accident fund executive director Amy Cofield last month at the request of the state attorney general's office, SLED spokesman Tommy Crosby told the Post and Courier. SLED began the criminal probe on April 23rd, the day after State Inspector General Brian Lamkin released an investigative report concluding Cofield had potentially broken state law by helping her husband's firm win a lucrative 2-year contract with her agency. Crosby confirmed the agency's investigation is focused on that January 6th information technology contract, which the state accident fund awarded to a company that planned to hire Cofield's husband, Jimmy Terrapin, for work. Y'all get into this story because this is really interesting. There is, I believe, a podcast on Understanding SC. The podcast is available at least on iTunes. I see it. Understand SC from the Post and Courier. If you can go to the interviews with Avery Wilkes, I want to say it might be Tony Bartolome, might be Joseph Cranny, but please check out this investigative reporting. You know that if I'm telling you to go read something at the Post and Courier, it's got to be real. It's got to be thorough. And you really need to look at some of the corruption going on in this state from these what is it called? The state accident fund, like stuff that I never knew, departments I never knew existed that are more than likely subsidized by taxpayer dollars. And yet, they're just lining their coffers with taxpayer money and with inexplicable contracts and whatnot. So she's fired, but it sounds like something that should be a jailable offense. It sounds like fraud. This sounds like corruption. And so it'll be interesting to see if this Cofield woman faces some harsh punishment, right? That being said, I want to cop back over to this clip that I glossed over the other day. I forgot to do this. And I want to play this clip again, just to let you know about like the corruption. We've got an issue with sheriff's departments, with fire departments, with state accident funds and whatever. So this every dollar. Okay, this is a segment of Roland Martin. I'm also encouraging you all, especially my white viewers, to start making sure that you seek out intentionally seek out Black voices in media, especially if it's independent media. So we watched a little bit of Joy Reid yesterday. That was fun. We watched a little Tiffany Cross before that. I've been using more content from Roland Martin, and I'm going to continue to just do more and more of not just even African-American independent news, but also that's why it was important to have Fernando on, right? To just really get y'all to start seeking out voices outside of the mainstream. Shout out to Yamichelle Sender, who now is the host, I believe the permanent host of Washington Week, one of my favorite Friday shows on PBS. So we got to start seeing... We got to start seeking out media that's a little, more diverse. So, all right, looks like I'm good. Jessica, you just typed in Twitch. Oh man, I need to catch up on that on the last 2 streams. I don't know. Kinda. Yesterday was like, I didn't really like yesterday's because of the interruption. I got thrown off. All right, let's play this real quick. This is a segment from Roland Martin called Crazy Ass White People or something like that. So I didn't name the segment, but I don't disagree with it because we got some crazy ass white people.
That you give to us supports our daily digital show. Only one daily digital show.
Rolling get on my nerves though. I'm just gonna admit that right now. Like rolling in, like, but we don't throw our people away.
Out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered, support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. All right, y'all know what time it is.
No charcoal grills are allowed. I'm white. I got you, bro. Illegally selling water without a permit on my property. Whoa! Hey! I'm uncomfortable.
The South Carolina fire chief is apologizing for making racially insensitive comments on his Facebook page. Francis Butch Gent posted this to Facebook. Dear police, stop responding to these
I'm pausing it abruptly. Did y'all see this? Because I didn't. I saw it like days later. Jessica said, yeah, I'm white. Used to tossing people in the bin. Yeah, don't do that. Did y'all see this shit, though, from this Francis dude? Because this got by me, but then I saw it, but then I forgot about it.
Black neighborhoods. They will eventually kill each other, and the fake news won't have a story.
Wow.
After receiving heavy backlash from city leaders and community members, Gent said he guesses it was racially insensitive, and he didn't mean it that way. Once word of the post got back to Lancaster County officials, Gent deleted the post and released the following statement. I would like to apologize to the black community of Lancaster and throughout the country.
Oh, just them.
The post I made on Facebook was not meant to be an attack, not meant to attack you, but rather a jab at the news media. My father instilled in me that the police were to be respected and honored no matter what. The media has done everything they can to demonize them to get a story and ratings. After the police shot and killed a teenage girl trying to kill another girl, the media said he went too far, but if he had let her kill the other girl.
Notice how an apology and a fucking apology for your actions turns into an attack, and this is the sick part, turns into an attack on Ma'Khia Bryant, right, who was shot and killed by the police, right, which I still believe if she was on her property, unless someone can keep me honest and let me know whether or not she wasn't on her property trying to defend herself against older people, right? Like it's supposed to be about you, but go ahead and deflect, you cornball.
Then they would have said he should have done more. The police can't win in these violent confrontations. I lost it and made that post. The wording was very inappropriate, but anger blinded my judgment. I would also like to apologize to my family, the fire department, Lancaster County Fire Service, and then the leaders of Lancaster County. I hope that my actions haven't put you in harm's way. I have served the residents of Lancaster County for over 40 years. I don't see color in the residents that I serve. I help whoever calls with dignity and respect. I have many black friends and neighbors that I more than likely have offended. I'm truly sorry. I made a mistake, and I'm very sorry for it. I again ask for your forgiveness. Maybe, Teresa, he's a diabetic, and maybe his sugar levels caused him to express a level of outrage like the white man in Oklahoma.
You know what? It's so interesting because I looked at the time stamp on that post, and it was at 10:40 at night. So likely he was watching Laura's show on Fox.
Like Fox News.
Laura Ingraham.
You know, and just felt the courage. So again, feel the courage, you know, when they say they don't see color, I think that's a subliminal racist statement in itself. I think, you know, when we say we don't see the people that is sitting next to us, that we are different and that we...
He didn't see color, but he saw color, right? We tell him to please shout out. I see y'all in there laughing on Twitch. Jessica, those are violins. Absolutely. Jazz, I hear you. You need to show up on his, right? Seriously, somebody should have showed up on his lawn, Jazz. Yo, what's up, Rayshawn? Good morning. All right, this is Joy Brown. What'd you say? Yeah, he tried to say it was more of a comment on the media. Yeah, right. Exactly. Right. And it's not even a good apology. Anyway, you don't see color. Can we just stop with that? Please, white people, tell your friends, stop saying that shit. And we know you got black friends, whatever. I don't even know if that's true either.
Come from different places. But we only hear their voice and we only hear their stories. But they do know when officers and others that are sent to us to protect and serve, they are looking at the situation and they are seeing color and they are reacting differently. So the whole I don't see color thing and
oh yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, Michael, I don't see color, but I specifically pointed out black people in my post.
Well, usually when people say they don't see color, they usually say that to the people whose color they see. Okay. And it's usually oftentimes after they get caught saying something stupid like this. So, brother, there's this whole climate where people feel comfortable with their white supremacy.
Yep.
There's this whole climate.
Very comfortable. And I'm gonna go back out. Very comfortable. And it's scary to see how like there's no penalty right now. And it has to be akin to something that my mother and father may have experienced, right? It has to be. It's Cinco de Mayo. Y'all see this video right here. But I don't want y'all out here, especially none of my viewers, none of my followers. I don't want y'all out here. Good morning. Hey, Fernando. I don't want y'all out here. Fernando, I'm about to talk about Cinco de Mayo. I hope I do you right. I don't want y'all out here wearing some sombreros, white folks. Don't be out here wearing sombreros and all other types of Mexican garb and fake mustaches and putting funny hats on your on your dogs and shit. So we're gonna get into Nancy Mace, but because it's Cinco de Mayo, I'm just gonna hit this video real quick so we can just hear a little bit. I'm not gonna watch the whole video, but can we just get a little bit of context for Cinco de Mayo? I know there's a lot of sales and things going on here. Oh, Jazz, you looking up the stats on Facebook, Jazz? 49% black? Say word, Jazz. Say word. I love Jazz. Okay, so again, we're just going to watch a little bit of this. Y'all keep me honest. I'm not going to watch a lot, but a little bit of just some context in mind. We're careening back and forth, y'all. We got it, right?
In the United States, most people celebrate Cinco de Mayo with endless margaritas and guacamole. But how many of us know exactly what we're celebrating? Many people think Cinco de Mayo is to Mexico what the 4th of July is to the United States.
Cinco de Mayo.
May.
Cinco de Mayo? Maybe?
Yeah, that's not right. Mexican Independence Day is actually on September 16th. So, what makes May 5th so margarita worthy? The answer traces back to when Benito Juarez became president of Mexico.
Thank you for the
country
sub,
was
Nicole.
in financial ruin. They had no money, honey. France saw this as an opportunity to claim Mexican land. The French stormed the eastern port city of Veracruz in late 1861 and eventually forced the Mexicans to retreat. The French then planned to conquer Mexico City by way of a city called Puebla. But Juarez, wasn't having that. He enlisted soldiers to try and stop the French from moving farther inland. Victory seemed impossible for Mexico. They were outnumbered roughly 3-1. The French had better weapons. Plus, most of the Mexicans weren't even members of the official army, but that didn't stop them from trying. Led by General Ignacio Zaragoza, they fortified Puebla on May 5th, 1862, and fought back hard.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop it there. Just to give some context, I wanted to do that on Cinco de Mayo. Ideally would have started the show with that, but we had a little mic'd up, wasn't mic'd up when we started. So I just wanted to give some context for today. Set the tone right, y'all. That library card should be like hot. Make sure you take advantage of resources. And what I like about having some context around Cinco de Mayo is that also it celebrates resiliency, right? Not just a drinking holiday, right? It's not Mexican independence, but it's this moment in Mexican history where that country stood up for itself and maintained, fought off some version of colonialism, right? And so I think that's really important, and to lift up moments of rebellion, moments of military victory. I think it's important to do that and not just view it as some sort of frivolous holiday that became gentrified. Does that make sense? Right? So anyway, that's why I wanted to put that in there. Just kind of just do that real quick. All right, I want to get to some other news. Let me see if we want to. I did want to again go back to. Let me close out some of these. Let me close out this one. Go back to some of what was featured on the front page of the Post and Courier in terms of the hate crime legislation. I'm gonna hop over to, because I don't know if News 2 covered it. I don't know if News 2 covered it. No, we also know that, they opened up the Joe last night. I'm not covering that, y'all. Just not. I'm just, Mayor Tecklenburg was out there playing that piano, right? So that's fine. That's fine. It's wholesome. Nice, wholesome fun. All right, let's see if WLTX has covered the hate crime legislation. Oh, yeah. Here's that beer and wine could soon be allowed. Wow. 5 points. That was a shooting in 5 points. That is super sad. A lot going on in 5 points. A lot. Yeah. I'm not going to get into it today. Let me see. No clips, no news clips on the hate crime legislation. No, I don't want to do that like I did yesterday. Started watching a really sad clip. So not doing that. But okay. That's cool. What we'll do then, we'll hop into what I just teased about this morning. So very interestingly enough, let me get to it. Let me find it. So I didn't know if this was a real site. I didn't know, like when I saw Punchbowl News, I didn't know whether or not it was credible. But I started seeing major news outlets tweet news from Punchbowl, right? Finding out what Labor Day is actually came up. Yeah, finding out the truth about Labor Day really will get you right. So anyway, Punchbowl News, right? So more and more mainstream media outlets have been talking about Punchbowl News and quoting them and going with their breaking news. And so their breaking news and their coverage of the GOP party, right, and the leadership woes and whatnot caught my attention. So I scrolled down this morning and I'm looking at, because remember yesterday, I think we talked about, Jamie Lovegrove tweeted that Nancy Mace was on the short list of people who would take over the chair position that Liz Cheney is being ousted from, right? And so I just passed by it really quickly. And so seeing the writing on the wall, right? Here it goes right here. So this is the breaking news. This came out this morning at 4:45 a.m. from Punchbowl News. Breaking: Steve Scalise is backing Elise Stefanik. I have no clue who she is. A bid for House Republican Conference Chair. Stefanik, I'm gonna say Stefanik. Stefanik is campaigning in advance of Liz Cheney's ouster. This is a major development in the House Republican leadership, right? And they're pushing you to their site, which you have to sign up and like get their newsletter. Not doing that, but yeah. And then I think they followed up with another clip, another story right here. Yep, GOP Kevin McCarthy and Steve Scalise turn on Cheney. Now, also you heard last night that like there was some leaked audio, hot mic from Kevin McCarthy. That wasn't leaked, y'all. That was intentional. He wanted that to get out. They not stupid. They wanted that to get out. So that's what that is. So why it's important to mic up, because Nancy Mace was floated on that short list. Now I don't know what the strategy was. I don't know if Liz was pushing for Nancy Mace. Again, we know there's a connection between Liz and Nancy, at least in terms of the personnel that they shared, right? But now we know that someone else, Stefanik, what's up, Shady Amoeba? We need all these people. We need to get all these people on the record. Yeah, what they thought about Scalise. We know Scalise is still touting the big lie. We know Kevin McCarthy still supporting the big lie, and that actually, thank you, Shady Amoeba. That actually leads me to very loud in defending. You said she was very loud in defending 45 first impeachment trial. Yes. Okay. So that leads me to Nancy Mace. So again, we saw Nancy Mace being groomed. We see Liz Cheney pushing Nancy Mace to every podium. We see Nancy Mace taking Liz Cheney's comms team and being on every fucking channel, being on ABC News, on their 24-hour news channel, Post and Courier. They trotted out the Pulitzer Prize winning journalist to cover Nancy Mace. We saw this ascension that was inevitable, right? And now I'm interested to see, now that Scalise and McCarthy were like, nah, we don't want Mace, because we know Mace is gone, kind of done this wishy-washy thing. And I think Mace really did get in over her skis. Like she was in over her skis. I think she was trying to do what Liz Cheney was doing, but without the skill. And not only that, we see that like people have refused not McCarthy, but McConnell, Cheney, y'all, the party has been captured. It's Trump's party. And I think their inability to understand that the horse is out the barn like really has kind of led to this moment. Anyway, so my point is Nancy Mace was a contender. She's not a contender now, right? And now we've got Stefanik. I hope I'm saying her name right. Elise Stefanik. Again, we'll take a look at her Twitter profile at least. U.S. Congresswoman, new ideas, new generation of leadership, real results with a hammer emoji, GOP women, EPAC, right? She's on Instagram, so she's young, she's attractive. And here's Scalise right here. Democrats are now considering, so she's parroting a lot of Scalise stuff, yada yada yada. So now we're gonna get back to the clips here with Nancy Mace. So I saw Nancy Mace, saw her do like these press hits, which were interesting on Newsmax. So this is what. So maybe y'all let me know if I'm off. It's going on Newsmax. And good morning, Jerome. I know I call y'all out like it's like a roll call. Good morning, Jerome, for watching. Thanks for watching on Facebook. Y'all let me know. Like to me, going on Newsmax as opposed to, because I don't think Liz Cheney's gone on Newsmax. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but to me, is Nancy trying to break from Liz Cheney a little bit and trying to now go back to Trumpian views and Trumpian talking points? Do you think that the GOP has kind of gotten to her? The turmoil within South Carolina, the Linwood stuff, do y'all think is somebody because to me, the Newsmax, I don't know if she was on Newsmax a bunch of times, and some of y'all watch her and know that how many times she's been on it, but I've seen 2 in the last week, which is very interesting. The most interesting one was the one from yesterday.
What business do they have to do with monitoring Americans?
Okay.
Well, I asked that.
First of all, audio is horrible. I know I'm on to talk after my technical difficulties this week. Okay, let me see what y'all saying in there. Somebody said stop playing with Liz before her daddy. Oh gosh. Before her daddy started shooting. And this the other thing too, I want y'all to understand this. Liz Cheney ain't no martyr. I want to make that very clear for anybody watching YouTube, Facebook. Liz Cheney's not a martyr. She's not a friend. Don't feel sorry. Don't cry for her, Argentina, right? Chill out. You play what they like to tell us. You play silly games, you're going to win silly prizes. That's what's happening there, right? Jessica, you just wrote on Twitch, what the fuck are they? What the fuck are they wearing? Why so many Republicans? I don't know. Why it looks like their moms dressed them? I don't know. All right, Shady and me, but there is no other leader in their party. So yes, they will be back. Yeah, there is no other leadership. They participated in this demise, this inevitable demise. They participated in this. So now you got Nancy Mace, and this is the thing. Like, how is this part of the plan to go on Newsmax, Sean Lion-ass Spicer, his cornball show? Go on Newsmax to talk about this United. Now, this Postal Service story is weird. I'm going to pull up one article that I found, not from the Daily Mail and not from, cuckoo conspiracy outlets like Newsmax. But why would Nancy Mace be on here spending time talking about this shit?
South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace just took part in a closed-door hearing about the reports, and she joins us now. Congresswoman, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, I saw what they did around me.
And thank you for having me.
All right, so can you explain what is going on here, and why is the U.S. Postal Service monitoring Americans' social media posts?
Well, we had this closed-door briefing, which was not open to the public last week, which, number one, was a disappointment. But my first question is, why is the mailman spying on? Why does the mailman have an intelligence operation going on? And the Postal Service
She cannot leave dumb, silly shit alone. She cannot leave dumb, silly shit alone. Like, I'm not a fan of Katie Arrington. No, I would not want Katie Arrington in her seat right now, but I have a feeling in my bones that Katie Arrington would be a fucking adult and like use her time wisely. Hopefully, I'd hope that Katie wouldn't have fallen prey to the bullshit, even as a GOP, member of the party. But like this, she can't. All she does is find ways to stay in front of a fucking camera, and it's almost like you want to talk about the most asinine shit that's not impacting your district. Your people who voted for you did not. Well, maybe they do give a fuck. Give me stop. I have no clue.
Can barely deliver the mail.
Y'all need to start. I got you. I put the battery in y'all pack to start critiquing her clothes, because you're right. That shit is horrible. Graduation preschool. Oh my goodness.
Properly, and now they have a covert spying operation. And I was telling
right in her whiskey neat and her like closed door meeting that wasn't open to the public. We get it.
My kids about this. I'm a single mom. I've got 2 middle schoolers, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, that's terrible. That's illegal. That's literally
That's what your kids said."
And so we had this.
So that's what her kids say. "Oh my God, Mom, that's illegal. That's literally."
I've got 2 middle schoolers, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, that's terrible. That's illegal. That's literally stalking." And so we had this hearing. They were wildly unprepared. They could not answer our questions on when the program started. They denied there was a program, and then in the same breath said there was an executive overseeing the program and 8 people under it. They didn't know when it started or how much it's costing taxpayers either.
I get law enforcement, right? The FBI or whoever, the Department of Justice, kind of monitoring stuff, the NSA.
Shut up, you incompetent asshole. Shut up, you incompetent liar. You incompetent liar. I'm going to show y'all. Let me see if I can find it. The one, Salon did a piece. Salon, USPS buying. It's on my phone. I should just look it up on my phone. Yeah, here we go. This is from the 21st of April. All right, so Salon wrote this piece. The other news outlets, I ain't really trust it like that. It was like Daily Mail type places and stuff. So they wrote this piece. So this is what she's talking about. Y'all saw me jump just now. I got an email from Jimmy Johns and I just jumped. All right, so the Division of U.S. Postal Service that investigates illegal mail activities has quietly operated a program that monitors American social media posts. Now, I just want to say out the gate, they should not be surveilling us, right? But it feels like Nancy just is piling on because they want to privatize the Postal Service, right? We know that's a Trump era grievance, a Trump era initiative that they're trying to, I guess, I don't know, reanimate, whatever. So, but this is the part that she didn't talk about because she just wants to demonize the Postal Service and make mail carriers, make you think that mail carriers are dropping wiretaps in your packages in your mail, right? All right, so a division of the United States Postal Service investigates illegal mail activities. That investigates illegal mail activities has quietly operated a program that monitors American social media posts. According to a government document published by Yahoo News, another outlet I bang with, there's some really good Yahoo News people. I spoke to them last year, really thorough. But I wasn't, Yahoo News wasn't my go-to source, so I didn't click on that. But they are referencing Yahoo News' reporting. So the Internet Covert Operations Program, ICOP, part of the United States Postal Service, they have a law enforcement, I guess, right? Mail fraud and shit. They have a law enforcement arm. Okay, it's one of 7 groups that deal with cybercrime, according to the United States Postal Inspection Service, which targets the use of mail to facilitate black market trade. Got it. Okay, so these are the broad strokes that Nancy so conveniently left out of her opening jab, right? As she let Sean Spicer weigh in. So there is there is cause for alarm, but we know that the alarm bells that Nancy Mace and those of her ilk are sounding, we know that those alarm bells are driven by the need to want to privatize the Postal Service, right? Don't go out there and start attacking your mail carriers, because that's the thing about Nancy Mace and those who go on Newsmax and other similar outlets. Newsmax. What's the other one that's really kookadoo? What's the other? It's Newsmax and not Fox News. There's another one. When you go on, Oh yes, yeah. Yes. OANN. So when you go on these shows and these networks, you already know these people. Again, I've been saying this steadily. There's a taste for blood. There's a taste for violence and chaos. All types of violence, not just the violence that comes with physical harm and whatnot, but the other types of violence where Tucker Carlson is telling you to demand a parent take a mask off their child in public, right? All this type. So this group, these Trump loyalists, now have felt emboldened to act, and they've almost been deputized by people like Tucker Carlson, by the former president himself, by some of the people they invite on Newsmax and OANN, right? So knowing that, I think Nancy Mace has a responsibility, no matter if she's talking about the Postal Service, but she has a responsibility to kind of keep the temperature low. And going on networks like that foment hate and vitriol and literal violence, I don't know. I think she's trying to. I don't know. And I asked the question. I don't know if y'all answered it. Has she been a regular guest on Newsmax or any of these other outlets? I really want to know. And then there was another Newsmax appearance. There was this Newsmax appearance when she
office. What were your thoughts?
She didn't use any products with silicone in them, so the frizz is real. So this was another one. This was before Biden's 100-day address, right? And so she went up here
to transform our traditional infrastructure into their socialist vision and waste money on
shout out Ray Jean. I see you on Facebook.
When we have enormous infrastructure needs, and there can be a balance between infrastructure and environment, there should be, but this is just crazy, it's ridiculous, and it's infuriating.
Right, that right there, South Carolina Representative Nancy Mace speaking from her car, as she often does, this time about President Joe Biden's infrastructure plan, which is expected to be a part of the president's speech tonight in a joint session of Congress. Now, the president also expected to talk about his accomplishments during his first 100 days in office, and so will Congresswoman Mace, who joins us now. Congresswoman, welcome back to Wake Up America.
I thought this was interesting, too, right? Of course, a lot of members of the party went out to preempt Biden's speech and characterize the plan as waste, and it's not infrastructure, it's not that, it's not, this, that, and the third, right? I get it. But also, again, really interested in her choice of choosing Newsmax as the platform to talk about this. That's number one. Number two, you got Tim Scott representing your state coming out to talk about to give the rebuttal. So it's just interesting. I think I want to know if Nancy Mace is more ambitious than she is intelligent, right? That's the question I'm really pondering. Is I'm not even gonna let her rock because y'all already know what she said and all that other stuff. But is she more ambitious than she is smart? I'm gonna let y'all kind of figure that shit out. I know I got my answer. Yep. So anyway, so just dig a little deeper about that story. There's a kernel of truth in what she's trying to. Well, she was a part of the closed door meeting, right? I've just described every Republican politician out there, right? Nicole, you said it's infuriating. That's something to get mad about. Yeah, it's just really weird. Like if you did think that the post office had there was and I do think there was some overreach here, right? It definitely looks like there's some kind of violation of privacy and whatnot. But it seemed like everything she's involved with, she's just going to take to social media and just try to get a camera to cover her, right? So that's that. I'm not going to close Twitter yet, but I'm going to go back to the news. Karine in the car, let's go back to Tim Scott. I saw this yesterday. I think it came on 2 days ago. But this was really interesting from Roland Martin, this piece. Now, it's 14 minutes long. We will not be watching the entire piece. First, let me check out the comment section on Twitch. Shady Amoeba, you said, we gotta divide the people. You dead ass serious. Call this woman's. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I know you said this earlier. Absolutely. You need to be calling these elected officials every day, for sure. And they need competition. So they've already been divided. And that's what I'm seeing with Nancy Mace's decision making. She's talking a lot different than Tim Scott is even. Tim Scott is still in the camp of, I'm going to go to traditional media, right? I'm going to do the Face the Nations, the Meet the Presses, all of that, right? I'm going to talk to them. I don't think Tim Scott's been on Newsmax or OA, and then, right? Is it Owen? No, let me stop. It's OA, but like, Tim Scott is following Mitch McConnell's instruction. Mitch McConnell is very deliberately telling you that Tim Scott is the future of the party. This is what the future of the party looks like, right? And so the division, Shady Amoeba, is happening, especially when you add Lynn Wood, Lindsey Graham, McKissick, all that drama and turmoil that's going on there as well. It's going to be interesting. And I think Tim Scott, we'll see if they turn on Tim Scott, because he did definitely denounce the big lie on Face the Nation. He denounced it outright. And so I'm waiting for that shoe to drop, because I don't think they're going to let the Negro keep kind of carving out his own path. I think he's earned a lot of credibility, a lot of respect, and a lot of trust from the GOP voting base here. And they're ultimately going to do what they did with Lindsey Graham. They're going to support Tim Scott, right? They're not going to like go rogue. But will the party start cracking a whip like they did with Lindsey? Lindsey was sweating like a whore in church when he thought he was about to lose to Jamie Harrison. When that money started, just that avalanche of dollars started to flow in from all over the place for Jamie, Lindsey was shook. He was fucking shook. And so what that was a sign of, that there was other people, because there were so many people from the GOP defecting and saying things publicly to the press to apply pressure to Lindsey Graham, right? So he was getting a lot of heat from the establishment, right? And that's when you saw Lindsey just, I'm jumping out this motherfucking window for Trump. Like I'm all in, right? Like you just crazy. So yeah, anyway, so I think the division is happening, and I think it's going to happen naturally. It's going to be interesting to watch. But I wanted to play this clip again from Roland Martin, because they had Nicole Hannah-Jones, one of the leaders with one of the leading or journalists from the New York Times that was behind the 1619 projects, and she was talking about the whole critical race theory. Like I told you, they're trying to turn Joe Biden into they don't have the scary Negro with the funny last name, right? They don't have the black wife that's telling you to eat your vegetables and drink water. They don't have scary things, so they have to create like their own scarecrow, and that's what critical race theory has become, which is so weird, because critical race theory has been around forever, and it's not. I don't know how white people got their hands on it and demonized it. Don't know that at all, right? Don't understand that at all. Okay, so let me play this clip. Let me rewind it too. Let me see if
You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. Only one day.
His Bring the Funk. I ain't gonna criticize it, but he's so like classically black male.
Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to Roland Martin.
Bring the Funk.
You can make this possible. I'll bring in Nicole Hannah-Jones, of course, the creator of the 1619 Project in right here, because all of this dovetails us perfectly what she's been dealing with in response. Of course, all these people being so upset. I mean, these white folks are really bothering themselves by the 1619 Project, because I keep telling y'all, white folks in this country are so fragile. They can't handle history, but they can only believe his story, okay? They can't handle anything else. That's why you have now Senator Mitch McConnell trying to attack her and telling the Department of Education, don't you dare include the 1619 Project in any federal grant programs in this country. Like, Nicole, we've been talking about, of course, the comments made by Senator Tim Scott. And then even right there, when you heard him on Face the Nation trying to say, well, the reason we had the Pickford decision was because money was being taken away from black farmers to white farmers, and now we're trying to reverse that? No, Tim, we're trying to still deal with the inequities from the Pickford decision.
Okay, they're talking about Tim Scott, but the chat on Twitch got my attention. Absolutely not. Don't ever say Uncle Tom, Uncle Tim. None of that. Thank you, Jessica. It's not like that's the thing, right? And one day we're gonna have this really honest conversation about how most white people most people are racist, right? But most white people, because that's about power when it comes. Black people and people of color can be bigoted, of course, can be hateful, all of that. But like the fact that that is so quickly sought after is to use a disparaging like racial trope. I don't know why. Well, I do know why a lot of white liberals are racist, right? This is the reason why I'm over here on my island with a sometimes inconsistent connection trying to create my own platform, is because those spaces are so hostile. Even though the people that vote blue, for some reason, the reflex is let me grab, and I'm not saying you did this in the comment section, but why is that the go-to? Why, when you got so much to work with Tim Scott, you got so much gums, you got you got the churchiness, you got the you got the weak sauce in terms of how he leads, right? And you got the disappearing acts that he loves. You didn't see him after the insurrection, you didn't see shit. You saw this one picture of him walking through the Capitol building looking at busted up furniture, right? But you didn't hear him say shit about lynching and his anti-lynching legislation when they literally were building a gallows and erecting nooses and whatnot. It's so much to work with Tim Scott. So much intellectual dishonesty, a lot of things to get him on. But why is it that white liberals tend to go for Uncle Tom? And that just, white people, people have not begun to unpack their white supremacy. They just don't. That's the more time I spent in those circles, the more I've seen that they think by being in close proximity with people of color, with Black people, they think by voting a certain way that, I can't be racist. You haven't begun to unpack your white supremacy. And if I can internalize white supremacy, white people, y'all damn sure it's in the marrow. So yeah, I got you, Shady Amoeba. But I think it's an important conversation to have in general about that trope, that line. And I'm going to try to find it on Facebook. Reverend Rivers, he added some commentary because I posted that on Facebook, that Mark Lamont Hill tweet. I screen grabbed it and posted it, and he gave an interesting comment. I'm gonna see if I can find it after this video.
Because even that wasn't enough, and you would think a Black man from South Carolina could understand that. But
Rajon,
no,
I see you, Rajon.
Instead, he's simply tap dancing on the dance card of the Republican Party.
Well, I think that Representative or Senator Scott does get it. He certainly understands, coming from his roots, that Pickford was about redress for discrimination. But this is something that it's a tool we've seen the Republican Party use really since the end of the Civil Rights Movement, when you could no longer legally discriminate against Black Americans. The tactic then became to claim that redress for discrimination is equivalent to discrimination.
Right. So this is what, like, Tim Scott is being intellectual. Like, she even said it, and I've said this before. He knows what he's doing. He knows that redress for generations and generations of disenfranchisement. He knows that you don't just take away the law, or you don't just have a settlement and that it's done. Oh, it's justice now. No, you actually have to then not only, stop the bleeding and whatnot, so to speak, but you also have to help folks heal. So how do you repair that harm that's been done? You have to dismantle the system that's built on inequity, and you have to build something else that is built on promoting equality, equity, access to resources, right? That's what you have to do. And so that means, like, as I say to white people who follow me or who ask me tough questions about how to start their unpacking of their white supremacy, you have to anticipate and prepare yourself for discomfort. You have to forfeit comfort. You have to forfeit resources to really engage in this work that's about Black liberation, indigenous sovereignty, about fighting for equity and access for all, right? Whatever that is. I know that was kind of jumbled up word salad. But you have to prepare yourself for the sacrifices that will come, right? And I think a lot of people have not prepared themselves for that. Why do I have to give up anything? Half the time, if you have anything, especially if it's wealth, that money ain't yours. That money's not yours. So if you have we could talk about that too. I don't know if Justin's still watching, but like, I have been dying to have a class conversation, but then again, it can get really heady and intellectual. I don't know if this is the platform for it, but we need to start talking about race, class, and capitalism in a very real way. And so that way, I think when you start talking about it the way that I want to talk about it, you understand what reparative justice is for. And so you won't fall for these shitty explanations from like a Tim Scott telling you, oh, no, we settled Pickford v. Glickman. They got the settlement. The settlement ain't shit. The settlement doesn't bring back that black man that died trying to single-handedly save his own farm. That settlement is not going to get that man who lost hundreds and hundreds of acres to the federal government through some sort of fugazi land seizure. It's not going to get that man his land back in 20 years back of raising it. Like it just doesn't. No. And so for someone to come up there, someone from South Carolina to come up there and say, oh, redress is discrimination. He keeps doing it. He did it with woke, saying that woke supremacy is just as bad as white supremacy. I can't believe that his camp is actually floating that shit out. It doesn't even make sense. But he keeps equating liberal politics or liberal, not even liberal, but like left-leaning phrases and policy positions. He keeps equating it to actual discrimination, and that's what makes him so reprehensible as a black man. Yes, but as a human being with a fucking heart, like you have to be gutless and heartless to literally fix your face as a black man and say any type of reparative justice is discrimination against white people. You have to be so power hungry. And the thing is, what Tim Scott needs to understand, Tim, we done seen you in prime time. You not that hot, fam. You ain't bring it. Fam. You might have kept it. You might have helped them hold it in the road, right? They wasn't gonna have no QAnon chick up there or no QAnon dude up there. You might have helped them hold it in the road, right? But you didn't do nothing. You didn't advance it. And it's just really interesting to see him really make this wager betting on white supremacy and also positioning himself to be the only one. It's frustrating to watch Tim Scott do his thing.
That if you actually are trying to undo the harms of discrimination, that is just as bad as discrimination. And you've seen the Supreme Court make similar rulings, for instance, in Parents Involved, where it said, programs to try to help desegregate schools were just as bad as programs that segregated schools. So I don't believe that he doesn't know what he's talking about, but he's sticking within the talking points of the Republican Party. And it sounds... I was just going to say that the reason it's effective is, of course, it framed that way does sound unfair. Well, why should white farmers not be able to get something that black farmers get? But the truth is, we know if you steal something from me, you having to pay me back is not unfair to my neighbors who aren't getting any money, right? That's not how it works. But it sounds like it sounds good, and that's why they say it.
But this was the precise game played when you had the Republicans like Ward Connolly who led their anti-affirmative action memorandums. So they would draft language where you would go, well, of course not. I wouldn't want somebody to be discriminated against because of their race. So therefore, I'm going to support this without realizing. In fact, I'm from Houston, and the late Mayor Bob Lanier, what he did was he made them change the language on the ballot to reflect what it would actually lead to. And they were mad as hell. That's why he got defeated in Houston, because he said, no. That language not going to fly because we're going to put the actual intent down. And so you're right. Senator Tim Scott knows exactly what he's doing. And so he wants to sit here and provide the cover because he's running for re-election. And so he wants, he wants to get reelected. He needs to play up to these white Republicans in South Carolina in order for him to win the primary, because he knows if he gets out of the primary, he's going to win in the general. Yeah. And so he needs to be called out.
That's why I think with Crystal, when it comes to Crystal running against him, girl, like, look, it's gonna be tough, right, for Crystal to get a win. So let me switch up real quick. It's gonna be tough for Crystal to get a win. That means that basically you have permission to be bold. you've got the green light to really make this campaign more of an insurgency campaign. I know I've talked about myself running an insurgency campaign eventually one day, maybe. But yeah, it's an insurgency campaign, right? And you have the license now to really just go for it and to make certain cases. And you can run a competent campaign. You can run a very respectful and tasteful campaign, right? Those are not words that I would describe how my running style would be. But if Crystal is more beholden to that, to those values, absolutely do that. But also, you've got a wider berth because the race is going to be hard fought. Let's just say that. So we know what the political landscape looks like in South Carolina. Barring any type of catastrophe, I don't see Tim Scott being vulnerable right now. Again, if Crystal's smart, she's probably watching and seeing whether or not his proximity to Mitch, and not so much, he hasn't gone to Mar-a-Lago yet. If we see Tim Scott down in Florida, some things might change, but he's still Team Mitch, still Team Cheney and all that. But we'll see if that's going to have unfortunate ramifications for him in his situation, right? I really am interested to see that. All right. I wanted to do one thing. I want to do a bunch of things.
But this is also
trying to escape out of that. I wanted to try to get to my Facebook about that whole Uncle Tom thing, not to belabor the point. Let's see if we can go to my Facebook without creating some sort of like crazy echo. Excuse me. Dustin and Twitch, you said sports analogy. If you're a major underdog, your game plan needs to be aggressive because variance is your friend. Good morning, D. Good morning. Y'all see my brother? Look at my twin brother, like, is a mess. Let me see. I guess because it's on my TV, it's not gonna. My twin brother's a mess. He just makes these crazy posts in his office at work. I don't get him. Let me go to my profile. Hey, Fernando. Go past that. Us looking at each other. I want to go to. I'm gonna make it smaller. Bear with me, y'all. Bear with me. All right, I'll make it tiny for a second. I'm gonna go scroll. Let me see. Here we go. So this is the post from Mark Lamont Hill. Y'all see it? Note to white liberals: never ever refer to black people as Uncle Toms. I don't care how down you are with racial justice. I don't care how much better your politics are than a black person you're criticizing. Do not do it. Right? And so under here we have Reverend Rivers here from Charity Baptist Church. Truth is, I'm gonna blow this up. We gonna listen to Pastor Rivers now. Truth is, we need to remove Uncle Tom from the lexicon of describing a sellout, con artist, or hustlers, because the real Uncle Tom was a revolutionary. We dishonor his work by giving that label to undeserving sellout Negroes. And I'm gonna tell you this, in private conversations with Reverend Rivers, this is the word he uses the most: a sellout. That's the word he uses the most to describe, like Maurice Washington, of the Republican Party here. Sellout is the word, is the phrase he uses often. So he's practicing what he preaches. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's one more video. We saw crazy white people. Saw Nancy Mace, Cinco de Mayo. This is interesting too. This little bit from from Stacey Abrams. Again, discussing Tim Scott. This is something that she's from PBS, but maybe she's doing something different. But yeah, Stacey Abrams, this is a recent response from Stacey Abrams as well. Again, lifting up black voices. Let's go for it. Let's go ahead.
Distinct divides here in America.
Let me rewind it. See what we got.
I'd like to ask you about one of the existing and persisting divides here in America right now, which is just acknowledging what the problems are that need addressing. And I want to ask you about the Republican rebuttal to President Biden's first joint address to Congress that came from Senator Tim Scott, because one line in particular caught a lot of people's attention. He said, Hear me clearly, America is not a racist country. And he argued that Democrats actually ignore racial progress for political gain. First, I'd love just to get your reaction on what you thought when you heard that line, but also to reflect on the idea that this is not a policy difference. This seems to be a very fundamentally different view of what problems exist in the US. So how do you bridge those divides?
Much like Senator Scott, I grew up in the South, and it is very easy to grow up in the same place and have a very different view of what's happening. If I'm going to be charitable, I would say that his point is that not every American you meet is racist in their intent or their behavior. But racism is a system. It is not simply about individual actions, and that has been part of.
And that's how Kamala should have answered it. That's how Kamala should have answered it. This woman right here has political ambitions. She's going to run again, right? Shit, she might run for fucking president, right? Which I hope she does. That's how you answer the question. Do I expect Kamala to come out and say, yeah, this is a racist country? Nope. But the way she fumbled and flubbed it, and so my lesson to y'all, or what I would like to impose, like, as I'm gonna let this rock a little bit more too, because it's a short clip. What I want to really impart to like white viewers, especially, again, these are lessons from the past 4 or 5 years here in Charleston. Understand that Black voices, when we say we're not a monolith, please y'all understand, it doesn't mean that we look different. It doesn't mean that Mika's a size 16 and, you know, Brittany, my friend Brittany, is a size 4. Like, that's not what we mean by difference. And we're you know, we're not a monolith in a lot of ways. And I think what I get what I get angry about is that perhaps some folks get satisfied, or I don't know, they don't really understand how to break down what's being said and why, because you're not familiar with the types of like Black political expression or Black political thought or theory or ideology, and how so you got from a Tim Scott all the way over to like a Stacey Abrams, then even further left. You like you've got this huge spectrum of thought and opinion, and I really want to push white folks to seek out all of them and and start understanding the difference in, like, okay, this person's more conservative, this person's more moderate. Okay, she said this because of that. Yeah, I don't know why I felt the need to make that point, but I'm just gonna make that point. It's just when you hear she's a whole capitalist. There's not a lot of things economically that I agree with Stacey Abrams. She's a whole capitalist. She can have a lot of centrist and moderate tendencies. Again, I understand she's running for office, so she got to do what she got to do. But there's times where, like, she was against the boycott in Georgia. I didn't agree with that at all, right? She and Tyler Perry were over there talking about, no, we need the money. We need the money. Don't boycott. I think that was political strategy, though, to be honest. But there's times where she's way more moderate than I like her to be, right? But what I never would take away from Stacey Abrams, she is such a she's an amazing politician. She is such a capable and competent woman. She is so, like, y'all are watching, you know how they say, like, in sports, all my sports fans stand up. You know how they say, like, we're watching greatness when we're watching LeBron, right? Like, in in LeBron's, like, final chapter of his career, we're watching greatness. Like, I don't take it for granted when I see LeBron play. I'm like, when am I going to see this type of talent, this, again, like, this generational talent again? Same thing with Stacey Abrams, y'all. Y'all are watching a maestro at work. And I'm just telling y'all, like, study her. You might not agree with every one of her decisions, but this woman knows how to position herself as a candidate. And if it weren't for voter suppression, right? If it weren't for the current governor overseeing the electoral process in Georgia, she would have won that race. She would have won her race. Seriously, she would have won it.
The challenge of combating racism. If it has to be overt, if it must be grotesque, right, then we allow 95% of the incidences to go unchallenged and to go unnoticed. I believe that we have systemic racism in the United States that requires response. I believe there are portions of our nation that are indeed grounded in racist systems. And I believe this nation has not gone far enough. Yes, we have made progress, but the deep hole we began in is not one we have climbed out of yet. But I also recognize that there's something aspirational in his language and his tone. And that is what we should attempt to reach But where we disagree is how close we are.
That's how you disagree like a fucking gangster. I'm sorry. Like, I don't have the discipline. I don't have this discipline, nor do I want it. But I don't have this like, this is how you disagree. And I wouldn't even call it scathing, but it's something akin to scathing. If that, I know y'all probably get tired of me doing it. I love shit like this. I just love when people know what the fuck they're doing. Like, hey, I'm in front of this camera. I'm asked to speak to this very hot button issue, and I'm gonna come correct, and I'm gonna do it in a way that's not divisive. And she literally gave this man props and saying that he was aspirational. And like, you talk about, what's that, jujitsu, judo, when you use someone else's momentum against them? You don't even have to hit them. You could just like move out the way, or you could just flip them. Like, that's what that was. Maestro, yo. Shit is.
But where we also disagree is whose responsibility it is. And I would argue that it is absolutely the responsibility of anyone who stands for public office to serve the realities of those they stand for, and to ignore the very real examples of systemic racism, whether it's the deployment of vaccines and the deployment of medication, the refusal of southern states to expand Medicaid, the inaction that we have seen on police and justice. And we are seeing Tim Scott step up to try to address that. But we have to have a uniformity of understanding that as long as racism exists in any system that is in America, then that stands as a marker of where America stands. And that is what we must address.
Look at that. She just said, you know what she just said, y'all? She said America's a racist country. Good morning, Letitia. Good Grand Rising. Grand Rising. That's what she just said. She just said it. She said America's a racist country, but I'm gonna take you the long way. I'm gonna tell you the long way. Why? Come on. It's so hard for me to disagree politely. And for real, Nicole, seriously. And like, my face can't lie. So I'm always like I don't have no discipline with that. Like, and if y'all ever see me like do it, please give me props. Like, if I'm ever, I think I did it like during my Carolyn Murray interview. Oh yeah, I did it. I did y'all proud. So like, I think before we started rolling, and again, I don't know when the special's gonna come on, but she did tell me she talked to Tyler Bear Spade Bessinger. But she asked me a question. She said, would you ever sit down with Tyler Bessinger? And I think she asked that question from a very well-meaning standpoint, right? And I'm gonna switch the camera thing real quick, if I can. When Carolyn Murray asked me, hey, would you ever sit down with Tyler Bessinger and have a conversation about your differences? I thought about it for like a quick second, and I said no. I gave her an emphatic no. I said I could never sit with someone, whose position, like the conversation's position starts so far apart. Like, he doesn't even acknowledge my existence, right? He doesn't acknowledge me as a fully formed human being. If you don't see me as a human being that should be afforded certain rights, if you want to deny my history outright and support lies based on white supremacy, if you're going to actively work to bring white supremacist hate groups that are prone to violence to my city where I live, right? If you're going to bring those groups and work in concert with those groups in an effort to start some sort of civil war that would definitely bring about a tremendous death and violence and all of that, if that's your starting point, that I have no place in that conversation with that person. I could never be in conversation with that person. And I think the way I said that was where I showed the most discipline. But I was so firm on my like refusal. Like, I would never sit down with someone who doesn't even see my humanity. Someone who supports Black death and murder based on racial grievances, right? Someone who would actively work to exploit a Black child and had to be sued and punished through the legal system to stop, right? And then just recreate himself as some sort of comic, as some sort of LGBTQ, GOP, hybrid, whatever. Like, he just continues to reinvent himself and come up with more and more pages. Because he's a cockroach and he will survive. Like, I would never ever sit down with someone like that. And I think that's where I showed the most message, like the most discipline. I wasn't offended by the question, but I'd be offended to ever think that anyone thinks that Tyler and I are we're not on the same level. No, he's subhuman to me. And I know you're saying, well, Tamika, you just said that he denies your humanity, but I believe that hate mongers like him, I can't acknowledge them as even like I refuse to think that I'm a part of his race, the human race. Like I refuse to claim that. That's how strongly I feel, right? The Jersey girl in us. You right, Nicole. You ain't lying. But no, just like I think he's scum of the earth. I don't. Why platform someone who doesn't have any cogent political points of views? Like why? And this is where I would disagree with. I was a little bit disappointed, admittedly disappointed when I heard Carolyn Murray spoke with Tyler, and I know what they were trying to do, trying to get both sides. But there's a way to get a conservative point of view. Shit, you could have went to Maurice. Maurice has been very supportive of the insurrectionists. Maurice has been very supportive of Harry Griffin. You could have spoke to Maurice. He would have been great for that both sides crap. But to speak to Tyler, and I don't know if Carolyn Murray knew that Tyler had participated in the insurrection, but I informed her of that because I introduced the nickname to her, the nickname I had for him, and yeah. And also the part about the Proud Boys coming to Charleston. But as a journalist too, that's the story, right? You sitting down with someone who could probably make news in your future, probably doing some more hateful stuff. You got them on the record, so that's that. But yeah, like it's just, don't give these dudes platforms. Yeah, Fitz News, y'all say y'all are independent and whatnot. Stop giving them a platform, but y'all need clicks. So I get it. I'm not built that way. All right, to get the clicks and stuff. I'm not really built that way. Yeah, that's not gonna be my governor. All right, so that's it. I'm gonna wrap it up there. I will say this. I'm gonna count this day as the perfect day, even though my mic for some reason wasn't set up. We started off with some silence. Y'all trying to wave your arms like, Mika, I can't hear you. I'm going to count this as a A+ day. We're going to give energy and attention to the positive things. No interruptions. I'll take a mic that's been unplugged. I'll take it. Inadvertently unplugged. Yeah, we're not sitting down with white supremacists. You right? And that's the real quick to Kia's point. As I say bye, hey, Jesus Christ. That's that. Like, yeah, we're not sitting down. Like, we can't afford to keep acting as if the Proud Boys are just like a faction of the GOP. Like, we gotta stop. Yeah, Maurice Bessinger. Yep, the Bessinger boys. Bessingers like Maurice. And the other Bessinger too. There's two. Remember, didn't the family break apart? So Maurice, yeah, I think someone said. I think D, you told me that they're related. Who? I can't remember which Bessinger put the Confederate flag on the barbecue. Right. Yup. And they put the Maurice was the one that put the Confederate flag on the barbecue bottle sauce. The sauce. Yeah. Okay. Yup. Yeah. Wow. Really. Right. So, yeah. Yep. That's not a side. Exactly, Nicole. It's not a side. That and you could talk to conservatives here. Talk to Drew McKissick. Talk to like I said, Maurice Washington's whack ass. Don't talk to Shaquem either. Oof. I saw he was at it yesterday. Shout out to the people who sent me the screenshots of Shaquem going off. Some of y'all really buying it. And that's the thing. Shaquem even fused some white liberals. I remember some people like, I don't understand. I thought he was at the rally with us. I'm like, yeah, y'all have to start listening to what he says instead of just looking at, oh, black skin. Oh, he must be, no. Shaquem is a whole grifter. He out there squawking. I want to know if he's going to run for senator. He said he was going to run against Tim Scott too. I would love to see that shit show. Oh my God. I would, what? Talk about secret popcorn in a big bowl watching that. Had pro-slavery literature in his restaurant. Are y'all serious? See, okay. When I became aware of Bessinger stuff, that was in high school and I was about to be out. I'm like, oh, y'all putting Confederate flags on bottles? I'll be in Jersey. I didn't know all of that. He had pro-slavery literature in his restaurant. That's crazy, Maurice. Stole his recipe from black people. Of course. All them biscuit recipes and stuff. Heavily developed by, that's the thing. Food and Bev got a reckoning. They got a reckoning. And like people like y'all had them on the ropes because they gonna come back. Staff gonna start coming back. Food and bev, man, y'all could have had people in that industry could have started airing out all kinds of stuff, about like exploitation of Black recipes and culture, appropriation, discrimination in hiring practices and staffing practices. Y'all had them on the ropes too. This is what I hate about the city. Like the universe be serving y'all up layups, and y'all be like, nah, I'm gonna take this hard 3-point shot from the perimeter. Like, nah, just take. I don't know about Shaquem. Shaquem with an E. His name is Jonathan Thrower. He got aliases. But he was doing some real anti-Black shit on Facebook last night. Some real anti-Black crazy stuff, blaming Black people for crime and violence and for food deserts, being when Dixie left. First of all, I don't even know how many Winn-Dixies is left in the fucking country, let alone in Charleston. But a Winn-Dixie closed and he blamed it on Black violence and not on underserved community. It's so funny because Shaquem and Lewis are operatives for the GOP, and they do all this mutual aid, and like, y'all doing mutual aid because there's poverty in your communities. That's why y'all have to keep showing up with these fucking Band-Aids that don't do anything to address the structural issue, that don't do anything to address the systemic issues that are pervasive in like Somerville and North Charleston. Y'all keep showing up with y'all boxes of bananas and fucking bread, and yet you want to blame Black people like outright for violence and whatnot. If that area was there are so many Black pockets of suburbia still hanging on. You can go downtown and turn down the right street. You'll see these beautifully manicured lawns. You'll see Black middle class folks holding on, while they can still afford it. Who take care of their houses, who take care of their neighborhood, who join committees, who join neighborhood associations, because they got a great retirement plan, or they had great jobs and they could support themselves. Like, don't act like poverty isn't violence, and don't act like violence doesn't beget violence. It's such a weak ass argument he was making. Like, it's not even worth my time and energy. But they were comical last night. Some of the posts. Jessica says, well, fuck him. Oh, you didn't say that, but I said it. Yeah. I don't know if you're talking about probably the messenger people. Yeah, when Dixie Jessica, did we just become best friends, Jessica? When Dixie used stores like that used to make me sad. Like, really sad. When Dixie used to make me hella sad. Like, are they even a thing? He said that last night. I kind of was like, where's the Winn-Dixie? Where was the Winn-Dixie? It's the saddest store. Ugh. Anyway. All right, y'all. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow at 7:30. It's Wednesday? Damn, this week is dripping. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Let's hope tomorrow. I'm got my hands folded under my arms. Like, no, but let's see tomorrow. Let's see tomorrow if we can have another stellar day of no interruptions. I'm going to do a mic check before I go on. Usually I do a mic check and I didn't do one this morning. That's what happened. That's what I get. So, Food Line is the new Winn-Dixie. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm only going to Food Line if I got to use the bathroom. Usually it's Harris Teeter. Winn-Dixie is the South plant. Pathmark is out of business. Pathmark is out of business. All right, let me say bye. My dad worked for 30 years. My dad worked for 30 years in Pathmark's distribution, their distribution center. Yeah. So love y'all. Bye. For real though. We're saying bye for real. Thank y'all for holding me down. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for all the donations. Thank you for all the subscriptions. Thank you for all everything. Got some merch coming. Thank you to my Patreon subscribers. Thank you. Keep it up. It's just going to get better. We're just going to get a real studio and really rock out. Thank you for everything, y'all. I appreciate y'all. I will see y'all tomorrow at 7:30.